Hello, hello everyone. My name is Gengyuan Liu from Beijing Normal University. This time, because of the coronavirus, we cannot have the offline conference. So, based on the invitation, I will give the online presentation. The development of the new framework for non-monetary accounting on ecosystem services valuation. And I make a slight modification of my presentation. So I will talk based on the four part. First is the background. This slide is copied from Professor Mark Blanc's slides, and he told me what is ecosystem services. As we know that the definition of ecosystem services are the benefits people obtain from the ecosystems. In most of the researchers, it was classified into the provisioning services, regulation services, culture services, and supporting services. From the here's a history of the theories for the ecosystem services. We can see that from theories to static and accounting, the theory is start from the basic theory, domestic theory to the economic theory. So it already have the long history development. Based on the literature review of the monetary method, and we found some advantage of this kind of method. The most and important advantages is monetary method can provide the common units based on the money, so it's easier to be accepted by the governments. But it still have some limitation. For example, most of the values is based on the willingness to pay. So that means that is based value, and it is imperfect information. Second is that Oldham's brother, E.P. Oldham and H.T. Oldham, in their paper 2000, they mentioned that ecosystem of the world are treasured because the market price are used to evaluate them. Even Professor Robert Costanza, in his latest paper published in Ecosystem Services, he also mentions that based on the monetary method, the values they calculated is not equal to the market value, and is also not equal to the trading value. So the values in monetary units is not equal to the market or exchange values is the limitations of for the application. Let's see what is a real value for the nature. First, the nature will have the will provide the services. Some of the private goods that they will have the marketing value. Marketing values could link to the GDP and others value. Second is that they have the no valued services. They provide non-valued services. Most of the common goods, tradable transport rights cannot easily be valued based on the monetary method. So the services and valuation payments for the services was always be used for the ecosystem services, and the payments for the restoring ecosystem services potential is also considered for the ecosystem good states. For example, the health sustainable capacities of the uh, delivering services, the life supporting functions. So this kind of the ecosystem good states is also very hard to be valued. So let's focus on the four services. The provisioning services already set price by the markets. So the unit is dollar, euro, or RMB. So it's already done. The cultural services, part of them is already set priced by cost, travel cost method. So it also can be linked to the money. Supporting services, most of research not be considered to avoid the double counting. The last most important is regulation service. Regulation service include all the weather regulation, temperature regulation, air, water, soil purification, and so on. This is core research point. And till now, it's still hard to find common units linked with other services. So in this study, we named a kind of union named the EcoCon. The EcoCon reference regulation services value of the ecosystem services in a certain quantity of kind of value. So in the society, money, I mean the dollars or RMB is the currency in the society, but in the ecosystem, the currency is energy. So EcoCoin is a unified measures of nature assets and the ecosystem services value. Let's see how this can of the ecosystem services are valued. We use the method of the energy. Energy is available energy required directly and indirectly to make services or products. The advantages of this method is to really understand the generation of natural capital and the ecosystems is based on the ecological characteristic. And the sunlight's tide energy and deep heat are the three original driving force of the ecosystem services. And also this method, based on energy, is from the donor side perspective. Energy can be details and analysis materials flows and energy transfer, quantify each flows and stocks environment contribution. So the eco coins we named referring to regular services values in certain quantity of the solar energy value. So that is mg. Mg is the currency in the ecosystem. So next, let's see the methods. This is the framework for the ecosystem services valuation. It includes the identify the ecosystem types, establish ecosystem classification system, accounting ecosystem services value, evaluation, and the spatial visualization. For example, here is a case of the Weaver ecosystem services. Weaver ecosystem services has one source from the upstream and have the big storage, that is surface storage, has a link with the underground water and sediments. And also, most of the water will have the will go to the downstream, leave the boundary. And this system can be considered the green part is the nature's contribution. That includes the direct services and the indirect services. Direct services means that this system will provide directly, for example, biomass increase, carbon sequestration, the water supply, the groundwater recharge, the sediment increase, and so on. The indirect services, that means the influence is brought by the change. That includes the water purification, the nitrogen transport, and the climate regulation, and so on. And second part will be the human's contribution. You can see that not all the services, ecosystem services, are without the human's contribution. Uh, some of them, for example, the water supplies, the hydropower generation, are involved the planting of the human's contribution based on our calculations. For example, the water supplies and the hydro generations will have more than 19% of the humans' contribution. So we must minus all the we cannot count all them in. We have to minus the humans' energy inputs. The last part is existing value. That means the share of the global ecosystem at the local levels and humans' performance. That include, for example, the biodiversity, the recreation values, culture and education values, and so on. This is another case of the wetland ecosystem services. We can see that they have two cells. One is a weaver, another is a tide. They also have the nature's contribution, artificial inputs, and existing values. So we classify this is a classification of the coastal ecosystem services. So we choose the mangroves, the salto marshes, the tide flats, the seagrass bed, the coral reefs, the estuaries. That is the sixth type of the different coastal ecosystem, and we classified it to the direct services, indirect services, and existing services like this. And we use the click to show that if they have this kind of services or not. And the calculation process is based on the geospace data and NEAD database that is we make it several years ago, and it could be it already be update today this month, sorry. And we update the latest year 2015 in this database, and we also have the UEV database. This is the equations. I will not go to the detail of equations. And we also developed the visualization software. You can see that we use the case of China as a coastal land, and in the middle is the software, and behind it we show the different datas in the sea and on the land. And next is some results. We did a case of a global coastal area, and to make analysis for the global coastal ecosystem services. And here's some result. The global coastal ecosystem services value is about 4.26 23 SEG per year. And Asian, their contribution is about 13%, and North American is about 25%. European countries is about 14%, and so on. The global coastal services contributions already showed in the diagram. It should be mentioned that some coastal states such as Greenland, Western Sahara, the Namibia is not included, start due to the Dead Lake. Here's a ranked by the countries. Canada share the most contributions compared with other countries. Uh, Next is Indonesia, Australia, United States, Brazil, and so on. The top 10 coastal countries share about 16%, and the top 26 coastal countries share about 18%. Here's the regulation that is for the coastal ecosystem services and indicators. The red dots shows the both coastal ecosystem services and social economic indicator value ranking their top 20. And the blue dots shows the top 20 countries only in terms of coastal ecosystem services, and the green dots shows the top 20 countries only in terms of their social economic indicators. We can see that the correlation analysis shows that the good relationship between the ranking of coastal ecosystem services with the uh, with the seafood production, the coastal populations, and the GDP. And for this diagram shows the scatter point of the ranking of the coastal ecosystem services and the ranking of the coastal population. For the South Korea, Morocco, and Peru, Pakistan, there's a large number of people may bring a great pressures on the coastal environment. For the Papua New Guinea, the Norway, Cuba, Greece, the coast areas are not fully exploited in terms of human settlements that preserves the ecosystem services value. For the countries such as China, India, Japan, and the United States, has fully developed social and economic functions of the coastal area, while the preserving the environmental and ecosystem services value. Here is the diagram for the rank of the coastal ecosystem services with the seafood production. So we can see that the South Korea, the Peru, the Iceland, and Spain, with the coastal ecosystem services ranking below the 20, has a well-developed seafood production services. The Australia, Cuba, Greece, and Nigeria with a high ranking of the coastal ecosystem services have a lower seafood production ranks. China, the United States, Russia, and Indonesia, that's the best country for both the coastal ecosystem services and the seafood production, with the value among the highest in the world. This diagram is for the rank of the coastal ecosystem services and rank a number of the inbound tourism. So we can see the Poland, the Croatia, the Netherlands, and the Germany has a fully developed tourism and luxurious functions for the coast area. Most of the countries and European developed countries, and in Papua New Guinea, the Bangladesh, Maya, Cuba, with a small number of the inbound tourism and a high ranking of the coastal ecosystem services, and for countries such as the United States, China, Mexico, and the United Kingdom, the coast area have played important roles in attracting international tourism, where the coastal ecosystem services operations is relatively high. The last is the recap coastal ecosystem services and recap GDP. We can see that Poland, Germany, the Netherlands, and South Korea with the coastal ecosystem services ranking below 20. The marine resources are fully exploited and contribute to the domestic economic growth. And Papua New Guinea, the Cuba, the Myanmar, and the Bangladesh, with the coastal ecosystem services ranking relatively high, but the GDP ranking relatively very low. U.S., China, Japan, United Kingdom had made full use of abundant domestic coastal resources to protect their national economic growth. Let's see the final discussion. The spatial various of the marine ecosystem services with there's a threefold of the things to be discussion. First, the country with the large coastal areas do not always have the qualitatively large coastal ecosystem services. For example, the Australia ranking of the coastal areas is the first, but the ranking of the coastal ecosystem services is not. It's only the third. And Canada, the rank of the coast area is the fifth, but the for the ecosystem services is the first. Second is the provision of the ecosystem services may be related to their geographical location. We can say that the soil, the sedimentary organic matter building services values is mainly concentrated in the tropical place, and the water purification services value, they're mainly concentrated in the temperate area. The last is not all the coastal and marine ecosystem services are set specific. So the trade-off and synergy between the different type of the coastal ecosystem services, we should consider the trade-off is the loss of the marine biodiversity as a consequence of the excessive purchase of the seafood production services, the loss of the biological habitats caused by the disorderly development for the coastal tourism. And the synergy is that the mongrels and the seagrass bed are breeding and the nursery grounds for some marine the fisheries in the coastal reef. And the coral reefs can protect the coastal habitats by buffering the wave and the currents, thereby protecting the seagrass bed and the migrants. That's all for my presentation, and thank you for your attention.